I'm a snake charmer. Oh, it won't come out. What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm totally not trying to kill my brother. Just hiding behind the toilet.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad that you're not trying to kill your brother. What do you think of your bed?
Awesome.
Awesome. It's not quite finished yet, but heaps of room for you, eh?
Are you dabbing?
Is this connected to anything?
Not yet, but it will be. That's where you'll be able to plug your laptop in. Is that a good idea? And who's down here?
Hi.
What do you think of your bed?
I love it. It's
Yeah.
blue.
It's blue. It looks like you're in a swimming pool, in the bottom of a swimming pool, under the water.
I like how it's blue and black.
That's very cool. So every so often, we just come across one thing that gives you absolute grief. And at the moment, it's this corner piece that's going in the bathroom. We're just drilling holes and the holes aren't working, and I've snapped about 3 drill bits. And when we do get a hole, you put the screw in and the screw pulls out. It's like, this is like the 3rd attempt at getting this piece on the bus, and all it is a piece of trim to hold a part of the wall in. Which I will mention, by the way, in the corners here, because they're round, we had, the bus originally had some steamed bent ply. But when we took one of them out, it was so old that it had actually split, and I'm like, I've tried bending ply, we don't have a steamer, and so we've just ended up using Corflute and painting that white. I mean, it was white, but it was see-through, so we've sprayed it white, and it seems to work really well. So there's just a little handy piece of advice if you're ever doing a bus like a Bedford and you need some bent roofing panels. Corflute works magically. Right, what are we doing, Cindy?
The time has come to put the window back in.
Whoa.
The window rubber has arrived, so we need to figure out how to get the window back in. Do you know how to do it?
I did one years ago on a Mini, okay. So hopefully, but then I used a bread and butter knife. All I can say is buy the tool. Makes it so much easier, because I remember when I did Mini up years and years ago, and I tried putting the locking strip in with a bread and butter knife, and it took hours and it just wouldn't go in. And then somebody finally lent me one of the tools to put the locking rubber in, and man, it just made a world of difference. So we have brought one along with 15 metres of window rubber, because it was cheaper to buy 15 metres than it was, and more efficient than getting a 3 metre length, which we actually need, because you can only buy it in a minimum of 5 metres. So we figured we'd just get the whole 15 metres, which worked out a lot cheaper, if you know what I mean. Like, so there wouldn't be any waste, and we can do all the other windows, which will be really good. So this is the magic tool, which I highly recommend getting. So we might pop them on our website. I haven't really kept that up to date, but I might pop them on our website with a link so you know where to get one should you ever need one. We have an added little issue here, because when we took the aluminium sheet out, see these holes? This is where the old rivets were that held that aluminium sheet down there in. So I've got to knock all these rivets out, because obviously you can't get the window rubber over them. So we're going to have to somehow fill those in, otherwise the edge of the rubber will be too close, and we don't want water getting in through there. So that could be a challenge, but we'll see how we go. Cindy is our master bogger.
Yep, no worries.
Sorted?
Sorted.
Great. I need a little something pointy to knock them through with a hammer.
Like a nail punch or something.
Yeah. Does it not go right through? Some of them are, some of them aren't. I don't want to bend the aluminium. So I need or a big nail might do it. I don't know. So all the little holes that we had from the previous rivets have all gone because Cindy, our bog queen, she loves bogging stuff up on the bus. I'm sure we've got bog in places we don't need it just because she likes using the bog. So, but it's a, what is it, a metal fibre type bog?
I think that's
Yeah, so that's filled in all our little holes. So now we can put a window in, hopefully. So tip for the day, which is not really a tip. If you have a detailed sander and you're wanting to get into the corners but you've run out of sanding pads, I've found out that you can use the round ones. Not ideal, but they work when you need one. Saves a trip to the hardware store. So this is the window rubber. When purchasing, there's several options. So you need to measure up your old strips that you've pulled out is a good idea. So we're about, I think, 2.9 meters to do right around the edge of the window. So I'm going to cut it at 3. Because when you're cutting the rubber you want a little bit extra, because what happens once it's in, it kind of stretches out and you can get a gap between the two ends, which gives you a point that can leak. So you cut it a little bit further and force it in. But before we get there, we're going to start, I'm just going to feed, this is the bit that feeds basically through the edge of the window on like so. And then you just literally feed your way around the window, which I'm going to do now and see how we get on. And then of course your locking strip, which goes in here, that faces outside, so you can lock your rubber in. So locking strip, nice little pieces. This was out of the last window. It's still in really good nick, and so we'll just use that and slide that around, which is what we need the magic tool for.
like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.
Alright, so we've finally got our window to fit. The problem was, the glass for some reason on this particular window set out further than the aluminium, and the width of the hole was too narrow by about a millimetre, 2 millimetres. So last night I got the grinder and I just had to grind some of the glass off really carefully, and then we had to take a bit more of the aluminium off the window hole to get it in, which was a real pain. But it's in and it's fitting, My only concern is that it's going to be a bit too tight for the locking strip. But anyway, we're going to be putting the locking strip in. So this is what opens the rubber up, holds it against the window and the bus and makes a tight seal and holds everything in place. So the big thing is lots and lots of slippery stuff. So here I'm using detergent and water. I don't know how much detergent's in there, but it's going to be nice and slippery. That's going to work. And then we've got the magic tool. These things are gold if you're having to put a locking strip in. So here's our locking strip. You can see the shape of it. To push it in is like really, really hard. I remember doing a mini with a bread and butter knife and that sucked. It took so long to do. So anyway, basically the way it works is you put your locking strip tool in, feed it in so it's inside the groove, and then literally just put your locking strip in and just start working your way around. And it should, if we put enough slipperiness in, just force the locking strip in. So you can see behind there that the locking strip's gone in. And after much physical persuasion, we have a window in. I don't think I want to do that again in a hurry.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.